Hello everyone, my name is Yorli and I'm a software engineer based in New York, and today we'll be walking through the Codecademy Newsreader project, which is a part of the Async Actions and Middleware lesson. While working on this project, we'll practice using Redux middleware, and we'll also practice creating asynchronous actions with the utility function createAsyncThunk from the Redux toolkit. We'll also be using React 18 for this entire project. Let's explore the final state of the project. Our website will contain a list of article cards. Each card will contain a picture, title, and brief intro of the article. By clicking on an article, you'll see the complete article show up above the list of articles. You'll also notice a comment section below each article where users can leave new comments. The comments will persist even if you click on different articles. You'll also notice various loading states whenever you click on an article or are trying to see all the comments for a specific article. In the following set of tasks, we'll work to load comments for articles with asynchronous actions. We'll make use of the createAsyncThunk utility function provided by Redux Toolkit in the comments slice. In commentsSlice.js, let's start by importing createAsyncThunk and createSlice from the Redux Toolkit module. Next, let's use createAsyncThunk to define an async action creator and store it in a constant called loadCommentsForArticleID, which we'll also need to export. The first argument to createAsyncThunk will be the action type string, and the second argument will be the asynchronous callback with a single parameter for the article ID. We'll need to complete the body of the asynchronous function we defined by using fetch to retrieve the comments from the path API/articles/ the passed in article ID /comments and store it in a constant called data. We'll wrap up the body by converting data into JSON and returning it. The following set of tasks will set up the initial state and reducer logic for the comment slice. Let's start filling in the comment slice initial state by defining a byArticleID property and setting it equal to an empty object. This object will have keys set to article ID and an array of comments for that article as a value. Next, we'll need some state to allow our app to appropriately respond to comments being fetched or an error occurring when fetching comments. Let's add a couple properties to initial state called isLoadingComments and failed-to-load-comments, both with an initial value of false. Let's add reducer cases for the async actions we created earlier in the comments slice by using the extra reducers property. Feel free to use the object notation or the builder callback notation, which I'll be using here. To allow extra reducers to handle actions created by our async action, we'll need to add cases for the three possible states of an async action: pending, rejected, and fulfilled. For the pending case, we'll update the isLoadingComments and failed-to-load-comments booleans in state to true and false respectively. For the rejected case, we'll update the isLoadingComments and failed-to-load-comment booleans in state to false and true respectively. Finally, for the fulfilled case, we'll set the isLoadingComments and failed-to-load-comments in state to false and retrieve the article ID and the array of comments from the action payload. We'll then update the byArticleID property in state by adding the article ID from the payload and setting it equal to the array of comments from the payload. Our next set of tasks will enable our application to display the comment data we've stored in state. To begin, let's correctly define the constants comments and comments are loading which currently have placeholder values. For comments, we'll use the selector select comments, which has been imported for us. For comments are loading, we'll use the selector is loading comments, which has also been imported for us. Before we can display comments, we'll need to first fetch the comments for the currently selected article. So let's define an effect to perform this side effect. The effect should dispatch a load comments for article ID action when article changes and only if article is defined. Next, let's define a new constant called comments for article ID, which should have the result of getting comments for a specific article ID. If the article is undefined, we'll set this constant to an empty array. Lastly, in the comment list element return, replace the comments prop with the comments for article ID constant we defined. We're almost done displaying the comments for a particular article. If we head over to comments.list.js, notice that we need to re-render comment elements for each item in the comments prop. Inside of the UL element, let's map each comment in comments to a comments element and pass in the current comment as a prop. Clicking save, you'll notice comments will start to appear for some articles. So far, our application is able to load and display comments for the respective articles. Let's build upon this functionality by allowing users to create new comments. We'll use the following set of tasks to deliver this feature. To begin, in comments.slice.js, let's define and export a constant called postComment for article ID and set it equal to a new asynchronous action created using createAsync thunk. Our new async action will have a type of comments/post comments for article ID and async callback, which will accept an object with two properties, article ID and comment. Let's complete the body of the async callback by making a post request using the fetch function to API/articles/article ID/comments. To define the request method and body, we'll use the optional second argument of fetch to define an object with method set to post and body set to the comment passed to the callback in JSON format. Let's await this fetch call and set its response equal to a constant called data. Finally, we'll convert data to JSON and return it. Like the load comments by article ID async action, let's add some state variables to allow our app to respond to all the different states for our async action. In the initial state, let's add Boolean properties create comment is pending and fail to create comment and set their initial values to false. For our last step, let's make our slice reducer aware of our new async action states by defining properties/cases in extra reducers. For the pending case, we'll update create comment is pending and fail to create comment in state to true and false respectively. For the rejected case, we'll update create comment is pending and fail to create comment in state to false. For the fulfilled case, we'll update create comment is pending and fail to create comment in state to false. We'll also update the by article ID property in state with the new comment in the action payload. Note that this payload also includes an article ID, which we'll use as the key in by article ID. Let's complete our app in the following tasks by allowing users to create new comments and also improve the UX to avoid the same comments being created twice. Let's begin in commentform.js by importing the async action post comment for article ID from the comment slice. Next, in handle submit, let's dispatch our imported action. We'll need to pass an object as an argument with article ID and comment properties. If we save, we should be able to create new comments for any article we want. The application is almost complete. If you notice, when we create a new comment, a user could potentially resubmit the same comment because the submit button is still enabled while the comment is being created. Let's improve this behavior by disabling this button when a post comment for article ID action is pending. Using create comment pending selector, let's store this value in a new constant called create pending. Finally, we'll add a disabled attribute to the submit button. This button should only be disabled when create pending is true. Great job completing the Codecademy Newsreader application using React, Redux, Middleware, and asynchronous action creators. Feel free to improve upon this application by adding new features or user experiences. For example, disabling the submit button if the comment is empty. Thank you for joining me in this walkthrough video, and keep on coding!